In this episode, the truth behind your late night cravings.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 195 of the Daily Mother Swole. Thank you for joining me on YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes for the podcast. And of course, thank you for joining me live. If you're catching me live on Periscope and Facebook, remember to click live notifications if you're on Facebook and to make sure you get your notifications on if you are on the Periscope. That way you get notified when I go live. Thank you for joining me every day at 12 noon Eastern Time for the Daily Swole. Remember, you can check me out also, youtube.com/Swolenormous. Today's episode, number 195, is 4 reasons to ditch your carbs at night. Really, it is the truth behind why you have cravings. I want to talk a little bit about what carbohydrates do for the body, why you require them, why you want them, and let's have a little discussion about some of the reasons why scientists and medical community and people think that why you crave carbs, okay? Why you probably should avoid carbs. Everyone's different, and generally why you probably do crave them, like you really want them, like you feel like you can't go to sleep without them. First off, your body's preferred source of energy for all this activity you're doing, for working out, for lifting weights, for doing exercise, is sugar, is glucose. Glucose is the preferred form of energy, and your body gets that from carbohydrates. It breaks down the carbohydrates into simple sugars, namely glucose, and your body stores them in the muscle and in the liver. And that's where your body will get the energy when it needs to do muscle contractions. It will release into the bloodstream, and your body will be able to perform activity. In very simple terms, that's what happens. So after a workout, when your body has used its fuel, think about a car. When you drive a car, when your body has used its fuel, your body needs to recover and thus will need to be replenished. That's why you want carbohydrates before a workout, for weight training especially, and also after a workout. Your body wants to replenish its sugar stores. Periscope, you guys are crazy. You guys are nuts. When you consume carbohydrates, it's like people at a train station or at the airport. When there are a lot of people, there are more taxis. When your body gets sugar and notices sugar that is getting digested and is in the intestines and is getting absorbed into the bloodstream, your body will release taxis. It will release insulin from the pancreas. The pancreas is an organ, and it releases the hormone insulin that is the taxi cab that will pick up the passengers, the sugar, the glucose that is in the bloodstream, and will shuttle it to places such as the muscle tissue to be reabsorbed and also to the liver to be resaturated. The liver is like a backroom storage facility. So you store most of your sugar in your muscles and also in your liver. When you do not need fuel and you're consuming a lot of fuel, this is when your body will release insulin, release taxis, will pick up the passengers, the glucose, and drive them around but have nowhere to deliver them. The muscle doesn't need it because it's already got its fuel. The liver doesn't need it because it already has its fuel. If you do this in too much excess, your body will tend to store these glucose molecules as triglycerides, which are forms of fat. Your body will actually put it away in storage. If you do this on a regular basis, your body will tend to store excess body fat, and that's where you can start accumulating in your stomach, your arms, and all the places you don't want to. Consuming carbs is good. Doing it at the wrong times or when you don't need it, not quite as good. So if you're trying to keep body fat to a minimum, in which case most of you are trying to reduce body fat or eliminate it completely, this concept is for you. Also, you have water retention when it comes with carbs. One of the reasons why people lose weight very quickly when they cut carbs is because water is attracted molecularly to carbohydrate molecules. So when you cut carbohydrates, people lose weight dramatically, 5-10 pounds, maybe even in the first week. They think, oh, I'm losing all this weight. This is great because they cut carbohydrates. And then after a couple weeks, they go back on to eating carbs and the weight comes back because they lost water weight and they gained water weight back. Very, very bad, especially if you're doing extreme caloric deficit when you are cutting your calories too low and your body goes into starvation mode. So these are things you want to avoid. These are reasons why those crash diets aren't good in the long term. Now, before I get into all the details, there are certain things with certain cravings that if you crave certain foods, it could mean that your body is missing out on certain nutrients like calcium or iron. This is mostly talking about just carbohydrates in general, not specific foods per se. The tendency to overeat at night. Generally, there's a tendency to overeat at night. There's also a huge epidemic in this country with sleep deprivation. And when sleep deprivation, what I mean is sleep debt, people being behind and being exhausted with their sleep. Going to sleep too late at night, I'm guilty of that, and then having to get up too early for work. So if you are playing on your cell phone, on the computer, and I do this a lot. I'm editing videos, I'm on my phone, and I'm up, usually up later than I should be, and I know it. I'm like, I should go to bed. I have a tough time turning off. So that's one of my areas that I need to work on. But many of you are the same way. When you're being stimulated late at night, you might have a tough time falling asleep, or you just might go to sleep too late, and then you have to get up early, and you're burning the candle at both ends. There's a great phrase, burning the candle at both ends. You're going to sleep late, getting up early, and then in the middle is when you're losing out because your body repairs at night. And when you are chronically sleep deprived, there are certain controls in the brain. There are certain hormones that are going to be affected in terms of their regulation that have to do with regulating hunger. Without getting too much into the details of what those are, if you are sleep deprived, your body has a tougher time regulating the hormones that tell you that you're not hungry. And tendency to crave these sugary, carbohydrate-filled foods is generally going to be elevated. There is also, that's a good question, Ray. I'll get to that in a second on Facebook Live. There's also research that shows when you are sleep deprived, and of course these are tests done in labs where they purposely sleep deprive people, or they give them a certain amount of sleep, and then they see which foods they would prefer, and however the tests are done. Testing is very challenging when it comes to this because it's hard to get people that will sleep on site, that will sleep at a testing center to keep it consistent, to make the test accurate. The research is starting to show that even more than hormones, that decision-making centers of the brain, those are affected. So places in the brain that control decisions and making decisions, and also those centers of the brain that they call the reward center, the reward response, when your body gets like, happy, or yay, like I got a present. That's where things that cause addictions like drugs and so forth, similar responses like that. So decision-making cortex and those areas have more or less activity, they're dulled, and the reward center response areas have more activity after sleep deprivation. So what this tends to, get us thinking is that you're not just feeling tired when you are tired. I know that sounds a little bit strange and kind of obvious, but when you wake up and you haven't got enough sleep, you might feel sluggish. It might feel like you're, quote, dragging ass. And in reality, you are. But the effect of that, or the reason behind that, is because you didn't get enough repair time. So your brain, your body's not functioning properly. Your muscles didn't get a chance to repair. Your body's probably dehydrated. Your brain is sluggish and your brain isn't firing optimally. So when you have all these areas that control your hunger and control your thirst and control your energy and control your mood, if you get crappy sleep, you feel like shit and you're cranky. And the reason for that is because things aren't healthy. They're not right. They're not balanced. They're not recovered. They're not repaired. And you have these areas in the brain that are not functioning properly, or they're functioning too much and they're hypersensitive, and thus you are not getting an accurate feedback from your brain. Your brain is not interpreting things properly. This is another reason why you may crave carbohydrates at night. Your decision-making skills are not as good if you're dehydrated and sleep deprived. And also, your reward centers are more stimulated. So you have issues where you'll crave sugar. You could be not eating enough calories. You could be dehydrated. And this is a little bit off from what I just talked about, but being dehydrated is also another reason why you could crave carbs at night. Your thirst mechanism is so weak and your body is not getting the water it requires, your body will start triggering hunger feelings to get moisture, to get saturation. So being dehydrated and being sleep deprived are two massive reasons why you may be craving carbohydrates at night. So my suggestion, if you are craving carbohydrates, I cannot speak today, carbohydrates at night, I'm just going to call them carbs from now on. Everyone knows what carbs are. If you're craving carbs at night, you need to start drinking more fluid. You may need to eat more carbohydrates, but earlier in the day, more around your workout when you need to replenish. And you need to maybe make some better decisions on what carbohydrates or what foods you do consume later in the evening. Things that are crunchy are generally more responsive to the body. Things like cucumbers, carrots, celery. I know they don't sound luxurious, but they're a great low-calorie alternative to something crunchy like potato chips or popcorn. It's a much better choice in terms of caloric intake at night. Vegetables are also beneficial, more fibrous. They're less likely to get absorbed and stored as body fat. And you could also have a snack where you're having maybe more fibrous style fruits like berries, like a small amount of maybe oatmeal and fruit would be something that could be beneficial because more fiber, slower absorption, less impact carbs, so to speak. But hydration, I really want all of you to start thinking about your sleep patterns and also how much water you're drinking. Drink more water. Drink more water, especially before you eat, and your real hunger will come out. So dehydration and sleep deprivation are big reasons why you are likely craving carbohydrates at night. And Ray asked on Facebook, how many hours before bed should we cut out the carbs? The whole myth about don't eat carbs after the sun goes down. Well, if you go to sleep at 8 or 9 o'clock, that might make sense, but most of us go to sleep at 10, 11, or 12. If you are eating dinner, I would definitely keep it. There's really no need. It also depends on when you worked out. If you lifted heavy weights around 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock, even 7 o'clock, you could have some carbohydrates at 8 or 9 o'clock. If it's your post-workout meal, you could replenish. But the type of carbs should be more of a concern. You shouldn't be drinking like a liter of soda or eating candy at like 9, 10 o'clock at night after a workout if you had to work out late. Some of us or some of you may have schedules where you have to work out at 7 o'clock and you're done at 8 or 8:30. By the time you get home 9 o'clock and you're eating at 9:30, you can have some carbohydrates, but you might want to keep it more towards like a sweet potato. Front load your day with more carbs earlier in the day. Keep your carbs more fibrous and limited in the evening, more vegetables, things that are going to replenish and keep you going throughout the evening and at night while you're sleeping, rather than trying to spike insulin right after a workout. I would keep it generally to 2 or 3 hours before bed. If you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, you really can avoid carbohydrates at 8, 9, 9:30, just because if you've already replenished, and think about it this way, if you ate a big carb meal, let's say you had your fast digesting carbs after your workout, then you had your larger carbohydrate meal with potatoes and whatnot, or white rice after that, after you worked out, you don't need as much later on because you're not replenishing. Remember, when you are eating carbohydrates after your workout, you're replenishing what your body used during the workout. So the more excess you have, the more excess weight you could possibly gain, especially if you're trying to lose weight or stay lean or trim down. If you're trying to bulk up, that's different. You can eat, depending on how difficult it is for you to gain weight. But if you're trying to lose weight and if you're trying to maintain calories, maintain size, lean out, there's a lot more, there are many more factors that come into play with your habits, your lifestyle, your experiences, and other elements of your training and your lifestyle that would come into a factor there. Brett on Facebook, other than protein, if you take powders, that is, what is your number one supplement choice? A must-have. Well, here's my honest opinion. There's no supplement that's a must-have. And the reason why I say that, I'll give you an opinion. You're welcome, Ray. There's no supplement that's a must-have because of the definition of a supplement itself. It's a supplement. A supplement means something in addition to what you normally do. My issue with supplements, and I'm not saying I never took them. I'm not saying I don't take supplements now. What I am saying is that a lot of times people try to look for that supplement that I need to take to get in shape, or what's the best thing, like you said, what's the best thing for me to take, a must-have. If you're depending too much on a supplement, you may possibly be neglecting the core basis of what you should be focusing on, like your food, your water, and your sleep. If you don't have your food on point, your workouts on point, your sleep on point, your hydration, you're not even ready for a supplement. You're not even ready for basic creatine. I do like things like creatine. Glutamine, it's up to you. Have mixed feelings about that, whether or not it works. Things like agmatine, citrulline malate are great for, vasodilation. Those have been, pretty commonly used in pre-workout supplements. Things like beta-alanine are good for buffering acid in the muscles that can help endurance and longevity of workouts. But those are generally pre-workout supplements. In terms of protein, I haven't taken a protein powder in a year or two. I just eat food. And you might see me in some of my workouts, some of my videos. I'm eating Sour Patch Kids. I sometimes have some candy before or after a workout just because of that sugar replenishing, that fast absorption. But in terms of a supplement, unless you have specific vitamins, minerals, there's certain ones that are better than others. Always supplements, certain ones are better than others that are from different or proper sources that are better quality, that can absorb better. But a lot of supplements don't get absorbed, and a lot of the supplements that you'll buy in a store don't have the ingredients to the quantity that are either tested in labs that are said to be good or that they actually say that they have in there. There are a lot of studies that would say, hey, taking 6 grams of this supplement is good. It's been proven in a study with 20 cyclists, blah, blah, blah. This is a great supplement. Okay, cool. So they advertise that on their supplement on the outside of the bottle. And instead of 6 grams, they put 1 gram in there. They put an asterisk, and they're not required to be evaluated by the FDA, by the Food and Drug Administration, so they don't have to get into any more detail. So they're putting the supplement in there, but they're putting an insufficient amount to get the result that was tested. So a lot of these supplements might have ingredients that are good, but not the quantity, and they have overloads of caffeine and stimulant that might make you feel jittery and up and hyper, but it might not actually be giving the effect like the pump and so forth. My most important supplement for me is a pre-workout supplement, something that will get me amped up. It could be black coffee, it could be espresso, it could be a pre-workout powder if you're okay with the artificial sweeteners and things like that. But for me to get to the gym and get amped up and do it, that's the important supplement for me right now. I'm not taking vitamins, I'm not taking minerals. I do some Celtic sea salt in my water, but I don't load myself up with too many supplements. And that's my honest opinion. I can definitely give you more feedback. But there really is no number one supplement choice. I would focus on food. Food should be your supplement. If you think of food as your supplement and trying to get as much you can from food, you will see a lot more results already because food is so much more important and hydration is so much more important than you imagine. Once you put your 100% effort into that, you'll see more progress than just trying to find something off a shelf that that advertises some pipe dreams. So that's some good advice. But if you have anything specific that you're taking or that you're looking at, I could also help you with that. So thank you for joining me for episode 195 of the Daily Mother Swole. Reasons to cut carbs at night. Great questions. I'll stay for a couple minutes after on Facebook and Periscope. If you have any more questions, remember, catch every episode. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swolenormous, so you can like and subscribe to my channel, workout videos, exercise videos, vlogs. I have all these episodes of the Daily Swole, driving while gaining, a lot of great information. And you can catch every episode of the Daily Swole on SoundCloud and iTunes as a podcast, so you can catch up and get all the deets. Also find me on Instagram and Snapchat. If you have any more questions and you want to follow me more behind the scenes through my day, thank you for joining me. Stay for a few minutes on the live broadcast, and I'll see you all tomorrow for episode 196 of the Daily Swole. Peace.